Alright guys, so this is just a little update I'm doing. I've come to discover that everything I did and all that week of process and the 3 alternators I went through, there's my new one by the way, it's very shiny. After all that long process and all the money I've spent, I've decided and concluded that I have a short in my charging system. Now, the way I've decided that is I took my little light, I got a clamp and it makes noises and beeps when you have power. What I've done is, this is actually in the book, so for anybody who watches this, you think I'm an idiot for doing it. I'm not completing the circuit, I am checking for a short. So, you take your battery thing off and you plug the clamp onto that and then you put the test light onto the terminal. So when you do that, you know what I'm going to show you guys. When you do that, that tells you if there's a short, and it even says it in the book. I would show you, but I don't like trying to find the page, so you just kind of have to trust me on this one. So what you do is you'll clamp this to this, right? So that is clamped on there. And you'll take your test light and it's not doing anything because I took the fuse out. Popped it yesterday because there is a short. This is the problem I'm having. There's a short on this main line, and it's obviously doing something because with that off, nothing. See, power. Oh, now it wants to work. So I'm barely getting anything, as you can see. And it's still connected in it. So there's something going on there, and what I've researched is that well, let me get back to that. If you do that and there is no light, you do not have a short in your charging system, as I would say. So if you have a short, it should light up. Now I have to find this page again. What was that? Okay, so as of right here, with the key off, you guys can't see this, can you? Okay, we'll just do it right here, fuck it. It says, with the key off, connect a test light between the negative post and the disconnected negative cable clamp. If the light test does not come on, reattach the clamp and proceed to the next step. If the test light comes on, there is a short in the electrical system of the vehicle. The short must be repaired before charging system can be checked. Okay, so that's proof. This. This book was actually made in 1986. It came with the car when I bought it. And I've also learned that those older Haynes manuals are better because they have more of this shit in them. all my wiring, which is very hard to read, even though I took electrical classes. But I got tired of that shit, so now I'm in college going to school for mechanical engineering and structural engineering, so I can be a bitch and build cars every day. But unfortunately, I don't have the money or tools or resources to fix this shit as I would like to. Because if it was up to me, I'd go, anywhere I could, but no one sells them, which is an A20 A4 motor. Rip every single thing out of this car, drop the motor in, swap the alternator pulley, swap, I think, one other pulley, and you plug it in with the OBD0 or 1. I forgot which one is in that car. I think it's OBD0 is in the 89 Accord. But it's a fuel injection conversion, so what I have to deal with this bullshit and be more reliable. I wouldn't say better fuel economy. It would be about the same. And the other thing you'd have to swap is you might have to get fuel pressure regulator. This car does not have one. All it has is a inline fuel pump, positive, negative, pushes out 3.5 psi of fuel, which then goes through this into the carburetor, and then the carburetor regulates the rest of it. So what I'm looking for today, because I've done all this, I need to check. Here, let's go through this. If you're having a short in your charging system, which is probably common in these cars because they're old as fuck. So this fuse right here, that is your alternator sensor fuse. So I need to check that fuse and the whole wire going to the alternator, or wherever it goes. Proof right here. Alternator sensor fuse, 10 amp, which is that one. So we will now put the battery back on and check this fuse. And yes, these clamps are awesome, but they suck at the same time, because when you're like me and you have mat accessories, they're a bitch, and you can never get clamps on these. You have to lift the post up and then clamp it, or what I've learned is it actually works well if you clamp it around these circular things. But anyways, we're going to plug this into a ground, which I guess we could put right there. And then we'll just... So that's obviously a good circuit. So next we're going to test is... that obviously has power to it. That's obviously ground. See, that's where the circuit is not connecting. Power has to go from the main line, from the battery, through this fuse that's supposed to be there that popped, into this, and that goes to all those wires up in there, and then circulates it throughout your system. Now, so obviously that's good. I'm going to check the wire in a second. But, we have to find the alternator. There's an all-white wire that goes from the alternator to the fuse box in the engine compartment. So, I've already unplugged this, but, you should have this exact plug. There's two white wires and a black one. You have a black with a yellow stripe, a blue stripe on a white wire, and a green stripe on a white wire. There's my problem. Wait, never mind. Here's the all white wire. Right there. That one, not this one, that one. Plugs into the charging point on the alternator. Right there. I don't know, you can't see it really. but it's that wire, and that plugs in into the alternator with one bolt. Should be this bolt. It looks like that. So I need to follow that to wherever it goes, which it should go back to the fuse box, which I think it's this wire here. Maybe not. That's the wire right there. See how it goes into the... Shit. Sorry. I'm not having a good couple days here. I'm kind of fucked up in the head right now. But that wire, let's see if you can follow this, goes from there, then down to the harness. That harness goes there, all the way down to there, and it comes back up right there. Maybe you can see, ooh, a nice little bug. Ooh, what is that? Goes in right there. There's no light, but it goes right there. There's a clamp, and then it comes back up through here, which is your thermostat, and then it goes. It should yeah, it goes right there. Then it goes from your starter, factory starter, by the way, boss like that. It goes in through there. It's that wire right there, and then it goes splits. I'm pretty sure it splits itself off. Oh, I can't see. Well, it splits itself off to that, I'm guessing. Well, it just gradually gets thinner, I guess, as you would say. So I need to test the continuity between that wire and the battery. Also, if it even is getting any power. So, I guess we can try to take that off. It's gonna be a fun day. Damn it, man, I don't want to remove that belt. You know what, fuck it. I have to have my car back, because I hate driving my piece of shit mom's Jeep. So, put you on the tripod. But you know what, we're gonna get some tools first. Okay, all my tools are in my garage. I'll be right back. I'll grab some tools and I'll show you what they are. Alright guys, so we're back. I got my tools. Now, I got all of this information from wiring diagrams on AutoZone's website. You have to log in with a username and all that crap. I guess if you don't have it, you have to create one. Then you go to diagrams, and for this specific model, it's the third one down for the electrical wiring diagram. So that's where I got all this information from. I do not like AutoZone at all. I think everybody who works there is morons, at least where I live and in Florida. So I'm an advanced auto parts guy, but anyways, you're gonna need a socket wrench, preferably just a normal one, 12, short and long, depending on how much shit you have in your engine bay. And you're gonna need one of these. So I'm gonna put you on the tripod and take off this belt. Guys, sorry for this, I'm trying to get the best angle. When you do this, you want to make sure you do not let that belt fall off the crank. You just want to get it off the alternator so you can push the alternator all the way back. Alright? If you let it fall, you're going to have to take off that plastic shit on the bottom. You have to get underneath the car and put it back up. So don't let it happen. So now that that's loose, you can take your crowbar, the handle. I don't like the other crowbars because these are just easier to use. And you're going to push it forward. Pull the belt off and then push it back. Which hopefully I can do with my hands. Okay, so forgot a tool. You're going to need a 10mm with an extension. So I'm going to go grab one. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I got my 10mm extension. Now what we're doing is we're taking that white wire off that single post. Hopefully I can fit in there. Make sure you take the battery terminals off before you electrocute yourself like me. There goes another short. Okay, so now that's taken off. Hopefully it didn't blow anything up. It would suck if I had to get a new alternator for the 4th time. I need to get another extension, so I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back. Let me try to readjust you. I'm getting that wire off right there. So if I'm correct, I might really feel like a dumbass right now. I'm gonna have to go to reference with my old alternator. Let me show you guys, because I'm gonna be so pissed if I haven't had a car for a week because of it's still having another bolt on it. I guess it came with 2 bolts. That's why it wasn't charging. I'm gonna be so pissed if that's what happened. Let me go get my other alternator so I can reference to see if that's supposed to be on there or not, because that is really gonna piss me off. You know, that's the mistakes you make, though, when you're working on a piece of metal for 3 days. That is very simple, but a bitch to do at the same time. Alright, here's my old alternator. And it looks like it has the bolt on the bottom too, but I'm gonna have to look something up here real fast. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. I'm checking continuity with my voltmeter from the white wire that goes to the alternator that we just unplugged. So I'll show you guys how to do that right now. First, you're gonna obviously, I hope these reach. So you're gonna put power. Well, first you're gonna put it on ohms, and if you have one like mine, you can actually turn on, you piece of shit. Hold on. Okay, so if your wire is good, it should sound like this. If it's bad, it won't make any noise. So we're just gonna stick this right there. Make sure your battery's unplugged. I'm hoping this works because this fuse is broken, so I hope this works. But yeah, find a place to hold this. There we go. Now, on the other side, check the continuity. If it beeps, on to the next step. So I don't know if you guys can hear this, but listen. The wire is good, thank God. So now that we know that's good, we can go on to the next step. That was a relief. I don't want to have to fucking go through my... So close to getting rid of this car. I found a Honda Wago van, 1991, completely original. Like, this car, it's just like this car. When I bought this car, not a thing has been touched to it. The tires were even original. Like, that's how, like, this was a one owner car. I'm the second owner. This car was just so clean. I mean, even the paint was still shiny on it. It had like 145,000, 5-speed. I think it was a grayish blue, like a I don't know how to explain it. It was a nice grayish blue, and it was beautiful. $850. Needed a rear engine mount. That one, which is very not that hard to replace, so I was like, oh, I want to buy this. But I like this car a lot more, just not because it's, you know, yeah, I'd like to have a nice freaking dump Civic hatch and stuff, but you know, how many of these you see driving around? I think there's only 2 of these in the state of Connecticut, so I want to be original. But yet, I like my old school Japanese cars, you know. If I could, I'd get a 71 Skyline and stance that shit. But, you know, gotta stick with what I got. Preferably, I would have this or wagon van, or early model CRX. Like a 85, 86 CRX. They're kind of ugly, but, I mean, how many of those you see driving around, too, so... Alright, so that's good. Let's go on to the next step. Alright, so we checked off the white wire to the fuse box. We need to find fuse 11, which is a 10 amp. That fuse is the link between your ignition and the alternator. Fuse 11 is a 10 amp. You know what? I think it's broken. I wish you guys could see. Here, let me get my flashlight out. Alright, so all these wires in here are for all my equipment in this car, I guess I would say. Some people don't prefer it. I prefer it because, one, it's an automatic key source. Two, it's a fuse, so you don't got to put a fusible link in your wire. Three, cleans up the engine bay, so you don't got all these mad wires going to your engine bay. You know, like that. It's just a disaster. You know, I got like probably 50 wires in here that aren't in my engine bay. But this is fuse 11 right there, that one. This one right here. It is the fourth from the left, and it actually says 11 on it. I think it's, yeah, dude, it's blown. Oh, I'm gonna be so pissed. Oh, my life, right? Alright, let's pull this shit out. Oh, I'm gonna need to get... Downside about fuses, at least in this car, they're so hard to get out. They're like, it's like trying to pull a bolt off that's been on there for 30-something years. Like when I did my carburetor, you know, those bolts were stuck on there. Like I've never even seen stuff like that before. It's crazy. Like I broke, I think, 3 ratchets and a couple tools, like sockets, and at the time I was in Florida at my grandparents' house, so I didn't have like all my equipment there, so I had like cheap $10 Walmart tools, and I broke like every single one of them. It was just a disaster. But this fuse is... I wonder if you can see it. Oh. It's obviously blown. I'm gonna be retardedly pissed if this is the whole problem the whole time. It's the only downside about not having an owner's manual is you don't know which fuses do what. But thank God my best friend, who's the store manager at Advanced Auto Parts across the street, helps me out. And thank God he loves old cars, because when I first bought this car, the only thing I knew about was how to work on a Honda. And I came across this, and I was like, what the fuck? You know, a carburetor on a Honda? Is that even heard of? So, you know, he helped me out with the basics of the carburetor. And then, you know, a lot of people online were helping me on, like, Honda forums and stuff, like 2Gs. 2Gs, if you own a Honda that is from 1979 through 1989, you need to go on 2Gs or 3Gs. It's like 2Gs is a specific website specifically for second-gen Hondas. Second-gen Preludes, Wagovans, CRXs. Well, CRXs would be a first-gen because they came out in 1983, I think. 84 came out with the SI. But any second-gen, third-gen Honda, you go to that website and you'll be so happy. You'll be like, oh man, why didn't I know about this before? Oh man, I don't know where the fuses are. I have to call my stepdad and ask him. Ooh, I think I got some in here. I do not see any fuses. Oh, you know what? I got a 10 amp fuse from my amp that I put in. It's a spare. I'm gonna grab that and Alright guys, I'm back. So, I guess we can say this might be resolved, hopefully. I just put a new 10 in. So, I took it for my hazards, because my hazards don't work, because the whole, I don't know, I don't use them anyways, so who cares. So I took my hazards plug from right there. It's 10 amp too. So now it's time to put our car together, and then I have to fix this somehow. But my car does run without it, so I'm hoping I can drive it down the street to get we gotta see if this is working first, because if I turn on that key and it pops again, I know the short's coming from the ignition, because that specific one is the I think it's the black and yellow wire. Where'd my piece of paper go? Oh, here it is. That fuse 11 is the black wire with a yellow stripe, which is on your plug. So you obviously know where that short is coming from if you're having the same problem as me. I didn't do this as like a how-to video. I just figured, you know, as a main basis of trying to find a short in your charging system, this might help you guys. So I'm going to put everything back together. Basically what I'm putting back together is I'm putting the alternator back on the belt and getting that all tensioned up, and then I'm putting my negative battery cable back on, and I'll be back then, and I'll start it up. So alright guys, so we're about to start it right now. Look guys, freaking worked. Oh, someone kill me, man. It worked. I cannot believe that just worked. All that for a damn fuse. See, that's the problem with cars is, let me get somewhere quieter. See, that is the problem with cars is, you tend to overthink things and overlook things at the same time. So, take some advice from, someone who's failed a lot and gained a lot from those failures, and don't overlook stupid things. Check all your fuses, make sure all your wires are connected. Also check for corrosion. So now we're going to check to see if it really is working. Figured out the problem. So happy to finally leave this goddamn house. Maybe I'll take you guys on a little driving video down to a van.